Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Dev Chatter. Don't know where everybody's out of, but hopefully everybody's having a good day wherever you are. It is afternoon here. And as you guys can probably tell based on my voice, maybe not, I picked up a bit of a cold since our last stream. But I'm pretty sure we're still going to be able to do a little bit of streaming today. I didn't want to disappoint you guys. So we are here and we are going to write some good code. You probably see up on the screen that we have our pull request screen up there. So we got a couple of things that are up and ready to go. So welcome, problems, arid tag, and async awake. And anybody else that is lurking around and viewing and hasn't joined us in the chat yet, you never have to join us in the chat if you don't want to, but if you do, you are welcome to chat away. A couple of things that I do want to take care of here before we get going too much further. I am going to get the bot running, just so that it is running in the background while we review this stuff and you guys can use some commands on it. For anyone that's new to Dev Chatter and just happened to stop in right now, we are working on a C# chatbot. We develop the majority of the bot code during the stream, although I sometimes do a little bit of cleanup of the tasks that either are going to be less fun to watch or are going to be challenging to think through too much. So what I try to do is I try to make sure that we get some things where we can really think out a problem, but anything where it's going to be like, as I'm sure you all can guess, there's like stream brain, we'll call it, where even sometimes it's like there's a really obvious thing that you're not doing here, Brendan. You could just do this. So we try to get around that as we can and do what makes sense in each place. So the bot should be running. We should be able to call some commands on it. So anybody that's new here, if you take a look in the lower left-hand corner, you'll see that we have the chat showing up on screen, but if you're running this anywhere, you should have a chat window to be able to talk with us. So we have in here some simple commands, and the reason why I want to go over the bot at first is because I made some changes. So yeah, async awake just did the commands command, which shows which commands are available. I did the lurk command, which is a simple static response. Now, what's interesting here, oh, right, because he made that. Ooh. There's an interesting challenge here. I'm not sure how one thing is going to happen. I'll explain in a minute. Okay, so those are all our commands that are available for async awake to run. If I do commands, you'll notice that I get a different set of commands than async awake did. So what's cool about this is our commands command is actually looking at all the available commands and telling us which ones we can use. And I just noticed I don't have any background music for you guys, so I'm going to get you some background music. Oh, dang it. Proximity violation. Okay, there we go. So you'll notice that I have a different set of commands than what async awake had listed. And that's because it's actually looking at the commands in memory and responding back with the ones that I'm able to use, which is a very nice way to make sure you get the real answer to this. Okay, so let's take a look at what is in here. Wait, we just got a raid from C# Fritz. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, C# Fritz community. It's good to have you all here. Let's celebrate with some hype in chat. So, welcome. Hopefully, you are all having a good time. And I hope you're looking forward to some your fritzing dev chatter. Thanks, Janiscu. So welcome everybody. Welcome C# Fritz community. I am aware that you are all probably interested in C# and .NET Core code, which is fun because that's actually what we do here. Welcome, welcome. I like that Math Squad hype emote there. The Fritz Krieg is upon us. Okay, so here's the thing that I wanted to show you guys that we recently implemented in our bot. So many of you know that we have various commands, emotes, and other things like that. So our commands command actually looks at the running commands in memory and spits back which ones you personally have access to run. So if someone in chat does the commands command, they'll get which ones are available. Now here's the interesting part. I mentioned that I made some changes to how our commands work in this system. So the neat thing is this. If I now type Hangman to start up a Hangman game, you'll see that the Hangman game starts. But interestingly, I could type Hangman and I could say E, and then that guesses a letter. But here's the new part, everyone. If you do HM, oh, give me a break, Arid Tag. So anyway, the point is, we now have aliases. So you could type Hangman or you could type HM, and they both are acceptable. And I'm going to show you guys how that works. So I changed the structure of how our commands work very slightly, and we have a much improved interface for our bot commands now, so it's actually quite nice. So I will go ahead and show you guys what we did here, and feel free to play Hangman while we talk about it. I merged in the pull request just so I could make sure it was in here, and I knew there were some people that were going to be doing some other pull requests on us, and I wanted them to be able to easily rely on the code. So we merged that in yesterday. This is improving the commands with a base command as well as adding aliases is what this merges in. So I'm going to show you guys what I changed here, and it's a pretty simple one. So the simple change is this. I altered all of the commands that were using simple command to use base command. And the reason I did this is simple command is now just our in-memory one. Well done, guys. You failed on whatever word that was. Mushroom. Mushroom is actually a pretty hard word. It doesn't hit all that many out of the common letters. Okay, so the relevant thing is this. So I created this new base command, and what I did with it is this. It now has a list of command words instead of having an individual string for the command text. And what I changed here was I added this new concept called the primary one, which in this case just always grabs the first item from your command words. So for example, with Hangman, the primary is Hangman and the secondary is HM. So that means that there's a primary and then there are aliases, and the way that you set that up is by just having them in order. So if I go to our Hangman game, for example, you'll see that when I set up those, I list Hangman followed by HM, and that's actually what makes that work. There's actually an alias on Rock, Paper, Scissors as well, which is a really bad one, but I did it just so I could show that you can. So if you do Rock, Paper, Scissors all typed out, that is another valid way of calling that command. So what this does is this lets us actually get away with having as many different names for command as we want to have. I did one other change as a part of that. So the coins command now accepts, you can call for coins, or you could call for tokens, for example, and either one will show you that, and that's funny because I hit the cooldown. So that lets us get away with aliases. Yeah, so we have alternative names for all the same commands. So it works out pretty nicely. And the cool part is this. If I go to help and then say tokens, it should provide... oh, do we not have... Oh, maybe it didn't find it. Alright, I might need to fix that. Oh, did we crash the bot? No? Oh, maybe I don't have a help message on that one. Okay, so there's help for Hangman. And there's help for Hangman. Okay, so I just didn't have a help written for the tokens or the coins yet, which I don't know why you would really need a help for that. I probably should set them up with a default one. Hey, I won. So you'll notice that even our help command can tell them based on the aliases, and the way that I did that is this. I wrapped our, instead of having an isEnabled attribute on the interface, I changed what we actually have on there. I added a should execute, which means should this one exist. Hey, the tall pants, welcome. So essentially, this is on the interface now instead of having that Boolean. And the point of having this on the interface is that we can do the check and respond back. So we don't need to worry about whether or not something's enabled or whether it, essentially we just say, we wrap up the concept of accessing the command words. And what that lets us do then is if we take a look at the ibot command, so if I go to interface ibot command right here, you'll see that the interface now has role required, your primary command text only, your help text, whether or not it should execute, and the ability to actually run it. And so, Async Awake, do you not have enough coins? That seems unlikely. You have 20 coins. I don't know, I'll have to look into that. Anyway, so that keeps our interface super, super simple, which is very important for interfaces. So, okay, so that's the main change, and I think you guys all have a pretty good handle on that and have been looking at it. So, actually, I haven't looked at this pull request. I'm going to pull it off screen just in case. Structure the app settings. What did you put in here? Very nice. I like it. I will mess with that off stream. And this absolutely will be getting merged in. So very good change here. So we broke out a class for bot configuration, and this is a pull request from aridtag. So thank you, aridtag. And then in here, so the bot configuration just has the other three settings in it. And so then instead of doing, we had a tuple returning, but now we're using this. So then he's passing this new bot configuration object in, and it's got all of our various settings. So database connection string is one of the settings, command handler settings is one of the settings, and then we also gave structure to the actual app settings JSON itself in exactly the way that I was intending. So that is perfect, a very nice change. I don't want to merge it in just yet because then I'd have to do stuff off screen because I would need to go mess with my user secrets file. And the other thing, aridtag is working on setting up our connection to Discord, and I will be taking a look at this, although we're not going to review this on stream because it's still a work in progress, as he mentions in here. We are getting some stuff set up, and looks like you're using some of our interfaces that we have set up for things, so should be good. We will take a look at that further, and might do some of that with you on stream, or just wait until it's done and leverage it. So, very cool, very cool. Okay, so at this point we have a couple of options for what we can work on. I'm feeling like we should continue on the heist game that we were working on, but we could do some other things. And Async Awake, as far as I know, no one has done the editor config yet, but you'd be welcome to start it. And I should mention to everyone who's in chat, if there are any features of the bot that you want to take a stab at, this is a project that we welcome anybody to make suggestions, add in pull requests, anything like that. We are trying to structure our code in a nice way, and I will give a warning to anybody that is interested in Should Hangman say that level what you need to start? Oh, yeah, probably should respond back with what level you need to start it in the help. We can toss that in really quickly. So anyway, what I was saying is that there's a little bit of a restructure that I want to do. So we use TwitchLib to make our connection to Twitch, and that's actually what does all the plumbing communication with the Twitch API and Twitch chat. And it actually works reasonably well. It's got some hiccups every once in a while, mostly caused on the Twitch end. Welcome, Banifus. Thank you for following, and I apologize if I messed up your name right there, but if I did, just let me know, and I will try to do better the next time. So, what I was saying is that on TwitchLib, it does the communication with Twitch for us, and we keep that fairly abstracted away, so we aren't super dependent on TwitchLib. Now, because we do our code on stream, we made a couple of connections tighter than we wanted to, but we are working on changing that so that we are not so closely tied to the TwitchLib API. Ah, perfect. So I got close enough on the name Banifus, so I will call that a win. I often go by the name Brendonius, so I'm used to interesting pronunciations. I get like Brendonius from some people, which I can understand where they get that, and that's fine. It's weird pronunciations for things. Okay, so jumping into our heist game that we started on Friday. I want to take a look at this. We started getting this going, and part of the reason we're building this heist game is that we want to have a second game like our rock, paper, scissors game, where both of them are going to be a joinable game, and we want to abstract out this concept of a joinable game where people in chat want to join in, and the goal is to be able to make it so that we have a joinable game as an easy concept that something else could just include in itself, and make it easy for someone to create new joinable games with a minimal amount of code. So then we could easily make a third or a fourth joinable game, and so essentially make this kind of thing fun. Hey, Wheelspin, welcome. I will actually mention that adding the quiz game is getting higher on the list, and we'll probably be doing that sometime soon, because there's a piece on that I want to be able to use to improve the way our bot works. So we will probably be taking a look at that soon. Okay, so question from Problems. I've been programming with .NET for about 8 months now. Welcome, Problems. Hopefully you've been enjoying .NET, and you want to do some of your own projects using TwitchLib. So the first tip that I would give you is start small. Just do something simple with it, and just keep revving. So start with something simple and just go from there. And that goes for any time you're learning any new programming anything. Start with the simplest thing you can and just build it bigger and bigger. Just add on new layers. So one of the first things you could do, especially if you're newer to .NET and newer to TwitchLib, I would recommend you just start off with, hey, I'm going to initialize some new stuff, and just send out a chat message and essentially do a hello world. And then you might make it so, oh, you know what, we're going to do a loop. So the place that we started, and actually Problems, if you want to take a look, so it's not out yet. I believe it's scheduled for Wednesday. All of the early archives of the Dev Chatter channel, all of our videos, I'm going to be publishing those out to YouTube, so you could see the beginnings of our chatbot. I think that the first one of our chatbot, which is the one where we use TwitchLib, is going to come out on Wednesday. So... if you check that out, you'll get to see it. In terms of resources for using TwitchLib, I would recommend you take a look at their documentation. It's actually not that bad. It's missing a lot of pieces, but what is there is pretty easy to understand. In terms of generally learning .NET, there are a lot of resources out there for that sort of thing. And Wheelspin, to answer that question on the Twitch API, it is changing. Kind of. So there are 3 APIs for Twitch right now. There's the V3 API that is the oldest one. There's the V5 API. Now both of those were deprecated towards the end of last year. But they're not going away entirely until the end of this year. And the congratulations on that win, by the way, Janiscu. And Helix is the new one. That's the third one I mentioned. And that one is up now, but it does not have all the features yet. So, which is why I find it weird that they deprecated before the replacement was fully featured. Now, Helix has a lot of what you need to connect to Twitch. So, it's a pretty good solution for that. But yes, Wheelspin V3 and V5 are both disappearing. Helix will be the only one at the end of this year, so everything's going to switch to that. Now, we use TwitchLib here, which means that at some point, we're just going to switch to using the Helix implementations in TwitchLib. And the developers that build TwitchLib have been working on adding all the new Helix stuff. So we'll be able to take advantage of the work that they're already doing. So it'll be quite good. Okay. So, I think I got most of the questions. Let's take a look at where this was. So, one sec, guys. I'm going to blow my nose. For anybody that doesn't know, I have a slight cold that I just picked up, and but we are still going to write code, because luckily this microphone picks up my voice, but it will not send at least human viruses across. And I'm hoping that someone, nope, no one figured out. I was going to say, like, I took a small break there. I figured you guys would play, like, rock, paper, scissors or something. So this language is C#, and most of what you're seeing on the screen is some content from the Heist game that we're building. So we're going to continue on our Heist game Wheelspin. And the way that this is going to work is... essentially, we take in a set of commands, and this is, so the command object is basically the way that people in chat interact with, yeah, Janiscu, V5 is already deprecated, but it's not disappearing until the end of this year, so we can still use it. And V5 is the one that has, it's the largest one right now, so it's the one that has everything. Oh, so Wheelspin, sorry, I will explain what a heist is. So here is the concept. I will explain, and I will do it by pulling up our issue. For anyone that does want to see the things that we're going to be working on our project, you can go out to GitHub, and I will post the link in chat, and by I mean the bot will, and MLG Popcorns, welcome. So the issue out here, we have add a heist game to the bot, and this will explain what it is we're trying to build. JD Phoenix, welcome, thank you for following. Hopefully you both enjoy Dev Chatter. So this is the concept. So this is going to be a little game that the bot will be able to play with us. And what you would do in the game is you start off by saying, you know, exclamation point heist, and that'll start up the heist game playing. And then there's going to be, say, a 2-minute time window where people can join the heist, choosing the role that they want to be. So you might pick one of these various roles that we have defined, and you can join in the heist. Say I want to be the hacker, right? I could join, so I would say like heist hacker. And so now I've joined the heist as the hacker on the team. Welcome, GHHM. I'm not sure how you pronounce that. Maybe it's Gome. But thank you for following. So once the time limit runs out, yeah, sorry, Janiscu. Hey, look, it said sub only. It did the thing that you wanted the other one to say. So we could do this. So we can start it, and then you can join. So right now, I'm the driver on the team. And the heist is not done yet, so this code's still in progress, so don't expect this to work right. But because we're building it right now, but I've made it available to us, so we can really run this and test it out a little bit. But the idea is, once that 2-minute time window elapses, it's going to choose a one from among the possible heists that we could go on. It will randomly select one. So, for example, it might decide that we're going on a jewelry store heist. And for a jewelry store heist, we're going to define a set of roles that are useful to have in a jewelry store heist. And the more useful roles you brought with you, the more likely you are to succeed. So if we have a full crew of all 7 roles that we have listed here, that is the most likely chance of winning our heist. Now, we want to set it up so there's always a chance of winning and losing, even if you brought everybody. So, and we can add any complexity that we want to the hazardous pizza, the undercover cop. I like it. Nicely done, nicely done. So, that's basically the concept of the heist game. Now, what we're going to do is, we want to set it up so that the roles that are more commonly useful. So if you look at our set, the thief is useful in 3/4 of our heists that we have listed here. So you'll notice that the bank robbery, the mob bank robbery, the museum heist, all use the thief. And so the idea is that we want the thief to be more expensive. So that's why I've got the thief listed as 200. So essentially the idea is, when you join the heist, you have to risk your own, in-channel currency on this heist. So you want to bring a thief? That's awesome. You can bring a thief, but it's going to be expensive. Now, what I have not decided yet is whether that's the individual person who loses that, and thus does the thief get more as a reward? I think they would, but so choosing the more expensive role, you're risking more, but you're going to gain more, something like that. So, but for now, you'll notice the heist doesn't actually really do anything. So it says, said only 30 seconds left to join the heist, but then, yeah, it's not totally clearing out. So don't worry about that yet. As I said, the game is not done, so if it does weird stuff, that's why. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at this code. So where we left off, we have join heist random, join heist by role, and these are basically how you get into the heist. And then we also have, we always attempt to start the game, no matter what. So if the game is running, the game will already be running, we'll ignore it. But if the game is not running, we'll check to see if you have the required permissions and start it if you do. So if we go here, we'll say if the game is not running, we'll attempt to start it. But otherwise, you'll notice it no ops if the game was already running. So we do a roll check, and then we actually start the game. When we start the game, we'll spin. The heist is a game of chance that you can potentially improve by bringing the right rolls. What I'm thinking of making it more advanced at some point, and maybe even having like tech items that you could bring in or something like that, and give you some kind of control to improve your chances. We'll see. Okay, so the thing I wanted to point out is that when you start the game, we are adding in 2 delayed actions that go in here. And these are basically like our warning that something's going to happen. And one is a delayed message, which is just going to send out a message after waiting a little while. And the other one is actually going to do a callback. And yes, Janiscu, we could potentially do what was being suggested in chat and actually have the undercover cop or something like that. The word new. That's just how we call the constructor of an object in C#. Vatsalp. So in this context, that's all it does. So that's that keyword. It just says call the constructor, create a new instance of that object type. Used in another context, it can mean something else as well, though. I sometimes like early returns to avoid nesting. So like in this case, we could just do like an is game, if the game is running and flip it, essentially. So we could do one of these. And then that's fine. So it works well enough. Oh, cool. One Reason to Live. Welcome. Glad you are catching things live. So yeah, if you guys like this style better, I am totally good with that. We do a bit of both in terms of the early returns and the nesting down. MLG Popcorns, my favorite programming language is actually C#. I have used a lot of Python in the past. I am going to scare a lot of people. I actually like Objective-C. I didn't at first. I thought it was a very ugly language. The joke I like to make is that once the Stockholm Syndrome sets in, Objective-C is actually pretty nice. I'd probably like Swift better. Swift feels to me like Apple's take on C#. It feels like they went the same direction that Microsoft did with C# on that one. But I don't think anybody's surprised that I'm a fan of C#. I do talks and courses on C# a regular basis. So, okay, so the couple of things I want to do here. Hey, wheel spin, and I don't think you can call commands like that, but if you flip that and you do the Magnus command and then you pass in a cheer, then it will trigger the command, because the simple commands wheel spin don't actually look at the parameters. Yeah. Problems. I have been programming in total for about 20 years. Hey, One Reason to Live. Thank you. Much appreciated. Thank you for subscribing. You can now start up all the games, and the best part actually is this. You can now spam the DevCha Hype emote, which we're big fans of. To answer the question of how long I've been programming, about 20 years. My original language was actually JavaScript about 20 years ago, and programming as my job for about 15 years. So reasonable amount of time, not super long, but majority of my time I have been doing a lot of structural work. I've worked on very large applications. I've worked on things that needed high performance. I've worked on things that we're going to be dealing with mass amounts of users. I've worked on super sensitive data. I've worked in the financial industry, in the medical industry, in the advertising industry. I have worked all over. I've done consulting for the majority of my time programming, and it's been very, very fun. So I love programming, and through basically all that time that we're talking about, I am always writing code outside of work as well. So lots of good stuff. Suggestions for understanding objects and working in object-oriented programming. My biggest one would be dive in and start using it. I would learn the solid principles of object-oriented design. I know some people are going to complain about those, but if you actually understand them and follow them right, they are very useful. If you how to say this? You can follow things too religiously, but generally I understand. The way I like to say it is, you want to use pain-driven development, which is when something hurts to do, that's when you want to fix things and make it better. So as you notice pain, that's what you want to fix. So MLG Popcorns, that is a hard question. I technically started Dev Chatter in 2015. I streamed one time, and then was like, no, I'm not going to stream. And then I started streaming again a couple of months ago, and have been streaming on a regular basis ever since, and we've been getting a great response from the community. So it's been very fun. And if you meant just how long have I been streaming today, then AridTag answered that question by calling the uptime command. And NT Grim Reaper, hi everyone, just found you. I recently started to learn programming. So most of the code that I write is in C#, although I do, as everyone that does web development, have to write in JavaScript. So if you are ever, if you think you're going to do any web development, learn whatever language you like, plus JavaScript. You always have to do that. There's no way around it. We all have to know JavaScript. And Wheelspin, you're correct, that should be an alias for commands. Why don't you send us that as a pull request or set up an issue in our GitHub, which, by the way, our GitHub is here. And problems, I majored in computer science, and I think there's value in understanding computer science, but it doesn't directly apply to programming, so you don't need to have a computer science background to program, but there's some value in it. So, Tarzed, thank you for following, and I apologize if I said that wrong. One reason to live, we don't have a top command yet. NT Grim Reaper, thank you for following. Hopefully you are all having a good time and enjoying the stream. So here's the change that I wanted to make. So I stored these. There's the last call to join and there's the heist action. Now I made these both local variables, but I don't want them to be local variables. I want to change them to be fields. So I'm going to do that. And actually I need to fix that name. This is, what was it called before? Last call to join? Okay. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make it last call to join. And the reason I'm making this a field is because I want to be able to clear this later. So then I also have my start heist action. I'm going to save this one as well. And I'm going to make it the underscore start heist action. So now both of those are fields. So I don't want to lose you guys here. You'll notice it created them as fields up here. And the reason why I did that is because I want to be able to remove them from the system when the heist actually happens. So the two things I did here, I cleared out the heist list when the heist happened. Also, I find it hilarious that right now when we start the heist, all we say is everyone got arrested. So hopefully you guys weren't like, you know, really wanting to win the heist, because you can't right now. And then what I'm going to do is I want to clear out the last call to join and the start heist action. So get that cleaned up there so that we're not leaving those sitting around. Kazro, computer science, the thing that I ran into a lot of is that the professors that teach computer science often don't know much about programming. In fact, they're usually doing, they're programming very simplistic applications and not, and they don't really know much about it. Because at least at a lot of the research schools, so they're not too focused on that. Now, I have noticed that there's been a resurgence of like computer programming and software engineering programs in universities, and those I think apply a little bit better. And I think from that you could get some fundamental understanding of computer science, but also with a focus on programming. And I think that actually might be a better degree if someone is looking to go into a university type setting. Oh wow, you actually started with C# at your school. That is very cool, NT Grim Reaper. So Java is a very interesting language. I think if you learned Java in the past, it would be a really good language to learn. And I don't want to criticize it because Java clearly is the inspiration for where C# came from. I don't think anybody would argue with that. And through some, we'll say politics, it ended up with C# getting created, which I really think was Java's fault, to be honest. But we're looking at history now, and who knows at the time what exactly happened. Sorry about that. One reason to live. You shouldn't have gotten blocked with that. I should whitelist ASP.NET as an always available link because it's always going to think that that is a link, which is wrong. It's not a link, but I should whitelist that. So I'm going to do that really quickly here, just so you don't get hit with those anymore. So one sec, links, options, and I will... okay, ASP.NET is now an always allowable link. Dionism, thank you for following. Welcome to Dev Chatter. Hopefully you're all having a great day. Okay, so yeah, same thing. Universities must learn the internets. You're new to C#, need to update a bunch of ASP.NET 2.0 apps. So one reason to live, the short answer is learn the new way of doing things. Just make sure that you know why the new way is the new way, and I think then you'll understand what is not right about the old way. So if you're doing ASP.NET 2, that's going to be a lot of web forms stuff. Now, ASP.NET Core, you'll notice we have Razor pages now, and that's going to feel similar, but if you notice the difference between web forms and Razor pages, that fundamentally will show you what was wrong with web forms. Web forms, I will tell you, we're not actually as bad as we all say they are. Like, even I say they're bad, but they weren't technically. A lot of the good types of code that we were trying to write, if you did things right, you could do it in web forms. You just needed to not, really, hook yourself into the web form structure. As long as you didn't do that, you could still write decoupled code. Yes. So Java's really not a bad language. I would say around 2005 is when I think C# surpassed Java. Kazru, yeah, so I went through computer science. I would recommend that anybody that's planning on it, go through computer science. Totally fine, there's nothing wrong with doing that. There's a lot of things you can learn from it. I have a virus. Yes, I do have a virus. What we are seeing in line 45 in particular, the second argument, one-time callback constructor. That, yeah, Xenost, I will absolutely explain that. So this right here, on line 45, is a very cool thing that we are doing. So this is a one-time callback action. So the way that this works is it takes in first the delay in seconds and then the action callback that we want to do. So essentially what that means is after this amount of time has elapsed, the callback is supposed to call this method or function. And yes, this is a lambda expression right here. And the lambda here, this is basically a method. So this code here defines that we are going to take in no parameters for our code. And then this is kind of like, this is our lambda symbol here. A lot of people call it a fat arrow because it's, like double, he's kind of fat arrow-ish. And then this is the code that it's going to call. Now, the part that's like mind-boggling here to a lot of people is that what it's actually going to do is it's going to save this as a method that can be run later by the code, and it will have actually saved the reference to this chat client that came from here so that this can get called elsewhere. So, Xenost, basically yes. So this is like a delegate in C#, but lambda expressions are much nicer than delegates, and yes, a delegate and an expression are very similar and work basically the same way. So if you know how delegates work in C#, you kind of know how lambdas work. Let's see. Thank you, Async Awake. Yeah, so we have a Discord set up if you guys want to talk to each other during or after the stream about things. The Discord's a great place for that. And the fundamental problem with web forms was that if you abstracted away the web part, in theory you didn't have to worry about tracking state. And yeah, so JD Phoenix is correct. The problem with web forms was that they wanted to make it easy for the non-web developer to do web development. And what that meant is that you weren't really working with web development. Like, you had all these state objects that were kind of doing things for you. So developers that worked for me in the past when we were doing web forms, what I would always make them do, and this is kind of horrible of me, is I would make them memorize the page lifecycle so that whenever they would come to me with a problem, I would then say, Okay, I will answer your question as soon as you go write the page lifecycle on that whiteboard. And so then they would go and they would write the page lifecycle on the whiteboard. And then I would say, okay, tell me how your code works. And they would go through and they would be like, well, this is created here, this is created here, this is created here, this is created here. And then they would say, oh, when they would realize that something happened in the wrong order. And I was like, okay, cool, thanks. You know, like, and the idea was I could answer their question for them and tell them, hey, your problem is that this is created before that. Or I could, you know, show them, hey, you know, if you go write that, you'll understand the order and see what's wrong. So, Bread Sticky, welcome, thanks for following. And the bot got you too. I wish I could get Visual Studio, but my computer sucks. Check out VS Code, MLG Popcorns. It's actually quite nice. You should be able to run VS Code. The things that throw me is the HTTP dot request manipulation. Yes, so a lot less of that kind of stuff happens now. MVC and Razor Pages and the newer stuff has much better pipe for actually talking in all the web stuff. Okay, so add and remove the event watching, basically. So we got that piece in there. Yeah, Juggernaga. VS Code is really a good answer. So here's what we want to do. I want to see, so we already have a tech. So did we not clear out the list? Heist members. I wonder what didn't roll. Did we ever say everyone got arrested? I'm not sure we did. So I'm not confident that this ever actually happened. I haven't tested this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let the bot leave. And is it possible to use C# and VS Code? MLG Popcorns? Yes, it is. You can actually do all the code that I'm running here. We can run all of this in VS Code. You do not need to run this solution in Visual Studio. It all runs in VS Code. In fact, you can run all the code we have here on a Linux machine, for example. There's nothing about the code that we're doing here ties us to Windows and Visual Studio. So if you want to work on the DevChatter bot, but you don't have Visual Studio, you don't need it. And if anyone doesn't have Visual Studio because you don't want to pay for it, keep in mind that there's a Community Edition that you can run. And for using Visual Studio Community Edition for things like, you know, side projects and stuff like that, you know, working on open source software like this, it is always free to use Visual Studio for that. And our program is intentionally, so .NET Core, even when you're running a web app, is technically like a console application that spins up a web app, is sort of how it works. It's a little weird. I like the approach that they did there, but that's part of how it is so easily cross-platform. And sorry about the cough, everybody. I've got a bit of a cold. Okay, so I don't think that our heist game is ever actually ending, so I'm going to stop the bot, so I apologize, everybody. You just started a rock, paper, scissors game, but I'm going to end it. So, sorry. But then what I want to do is I want to get this going, and I want to get into here, and I want to see what is going on. So we're going to debug this, because I want to see why our heist game didn't end. Okay, so the bot's running. Hopefully we don't throw a bunch of exceptions or anything. Remove that because we don't actually want to hit it just yet. Okay, Juggernaga, yes, I'm on a standing desk. Look, whee! I can hop around. I know, really entertaining. Okay, so heist hacker. Okay, so alright, so command handler, I don't need to know if the game is running necessarily, and okay, so now that action should be in there. Okay, so we have a couple of people joining the heist. We got a thief and a driver. Tenor, we are building a C# chatbot. We're currently building this little heist game into it, which is going to be kind of fun. This is not like a normal heist game if you've seen one in another bot before. Ours is a little different. Everything's in C# and .NET Core, so it will run cross-platform, and we're currently debugging to figure out why our heist command didn't fire the way we thought it would. So in the automated system, I want to drop that right there, and actually tempted to catch this and see what's in my actions collection. So we have a one-time callback. Okay. What is this one? This is the delayed message. Okay, so it's about to say 30 seconds left. So I apologize, I probably delayed our 30 seconds message. It's probably not at actual 30 seconds. Which action is this? Currency update. Okay, that's fine. Wheelspin, I'm going to read your message in a second. And everybody's messages. I just don't want to miss the heist end here. Let's see. I should get work to get some standing desks. Yeah, so Juggernaga, I enjoy standing desks. A lot of people don't like them for long periods of time, but I just feel more comfortable in this position. I tend to like slump down when I'm in a chair, and it gets uncomfortable after a while. So that's why I do standing desks. But I know a lot of people that switch back and forth. So looks like that one doesn't happen. Let's take a look. Right, we're gonna stop this. Actions. We have a delayed one time and rock, paper, scissors end game. Oh, sorry about that. So I want to hang on. Where's the, what's it called? It's a one-time callback action. And is time to run. Okay. What's it looking for? Oh, did I UTC now? Oh, son of a guff. Alright, guys, I figured out why that didn't work. I found the bug. Alright, I'm going to start the bot back up. Okay, let's take a look at chat again, because you guys said a bunch of things. Standing desk, what are you doing? Successful to think about displaying images on screen. Wheelspin, we delayed that one. We're going to wait until .NET Core 2.1 drops officially, probably, and then put that on screen. Although we might do it a little early. One of the pair programming people that we had guests on the stream recently, and he was really interested in doing that, so we might pull him in and actually work on that together. And let's see, where I work, repurpose clinic space with other furniture, moving to an open layout with standing desk, it's a wash. Yeah, so I know a lot of people that don't like open layouts. There's some advantages to them, some disadvantages. The setup I like is actually the open workspace within a small team. So like you have 5 people in a room, and they're all together. No walls between those 5 people, and they're all working on the same stuff. And I hate angled desks and things like that, because they're so hard to pair program at. But a desk that you can raise and lower is very nice. This desk is a hand crank desk that I like, and it's got multi-levels, so I'm a big fan of this one. That's what I use. And save the stream for next time to ask how to use the debugger. Yes, JD Phoenix, the debugger in Visual Studio is a very cool thing. And yes, time zones and other stuff like that are the root of all evil. I have been tempted for a long time to throw Notatime in here, which is a library in C#. It's an open source project that handles time a little bit more. It's community piece that does time a little bit differently. And I'm tempted to switch to it. It's actually John Skeet's project. Hey Rexy, welcome. What's up? Should make things nicer. Anyway, we figured out that one, so now the heist should work. I don't know if you guys started one without me. I'm going to be the hacker on the heist, so why don't you all join the heist with me, and we'll take a look. In now 2 minutes, we're going to get to see how this works, and see if we can have a heist end and start up a new one. 1 second, everybody. Okay, so go ahead and join the heist if you like. Pick your role, or don't if you want a random one. I am not sure, JD Phoenix, I'm not sure which ones are available, but I do realize that when we report back we already have one, we should tell you what's available. So I'm going to add that. Oh, and Wheelspin just confirmed that the heist is full. So when you don't specify which one you want, it will give you a random one from the team. So we should have all the roles taken already, is what that's implying, assuming I wrote my code right. So we have a hacker, a thief, a grifter, a carrier, a driver, a tech. Yeah, I think we have them all. So, now the thing that really will annoy you is that I don't currently prevent you from being on the heist twice, although we're going to have to add that in. Which means if you've already joined... and yes, JD Phoenix, we would want to trigger it immediately once it's full. So, everyone got arrested. There we go. See? It was because we were stupid and we talked about it publicly on Twitch. And then we waited 2 minutes, giving the cops time to catch us. Yeah, so JD Phoenix, we would want to, when the heist is full, just automatically run it. Hack the planet! They're trashing our rights! They're trashing! Come on, guys. Everybody here knows the movie Hackers, right? And if you don't, you should watch it. It's terrible. I mean, good. Wait, what I said originally. Okay. So, what we want to do is call start heist when we get everybody here. So, So I think what we want to do, so I'm adding you to the list no matter what, but I think we should call attempt to join heist after we get your random one. So call the internal one when we do this, just to make sure that they're both calling the same code. So we're going to say chat user, and then role is the one that we're going to do. And then what I can do, so that now is the only place where we're actually doing the real join. Okay, so that movie crashed and burned. Juggernaga, we don't have a Trello board. What we have for this is issues on GitHub right now, so you can take a look there if you want to make recommendations. And there is an issue for this one, so you could put a comment on the Heist Game. So that would be right here. So if you comment on this with what you think we should do, so we could say game should start when all roles taken. That's a place where we can then come and look later on and see that. Let's see. Other stuff. I would be able to track what you need to do. Yeah, so we didn't Trello this, only because we're so tied to GitHub. It's nice that we can do this. And you can actually set things up to be able to talk between those two. And, oh, he already answered that. And there's the GitHub method, returning methods. That's true, Async Awake. Someone could suggest that we set up Trello. And no. Jadisku, we're probably going to have a mainframe heist at some point, and then that would be Hack the Planet. And in that one, you know, like, we might allow you to be, like, all hackers. Anyway, although that would get complicated. Okay, so we're going to add you to the list. And then as soon as we do that, we're going to do a quick check. And we're going to say if if there are not any available roles, actually, I might do this somewhere else. Maybe from the command. Join heist by role. Join heist random. Where do we do it? Attempt to join heist, and then we respond. Yeah, okay, so here's what we're going to do. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to rename this. So I have this method, attempt to start new game, that I don't like. Async awake, that is technically true. No one should ever do that. Please stop using Excel like it's a, a software development platform. It's not. That is a horrible, awful thing for someone to do. Instead of saying start game, I'm going to say create game. And the reason I want to say create is because down here I want to say attempt to start heist. So heist game, attempt to start heist. Yeah, attempt to start game, we'll say. So what we're going to do is we're going to say if not any get all available roles. So basically, if there aren't any available roles, then we are going to start the heist. I needed to pass in our chat client. Nope, chat client. There it is. Okay, what do we got here? Can I code something similar using Python? Breadsticky, absolutely you can code this using Python. It would be easy and fun. I've done a lot of Python coding in the past. I saw someone made a 3D raycaster in Excel with... Wow. The things people do with Excel always amaze me. Sometimes that amazement is, for not great reasons. Okay, so the reason it's failing to build right now is because the bot's running, so it can't replace the bot's files that it's using to run. So we're saying if there aren't any roles... Okay, so here's what I want to do, actually. If there aren't any roles... and the game is running, I want to... So I want to remove the... start heist action if I can, and then start the heist. Which actually makes me realize I should make this a Boolean. I like my warning that it requires on it that it uses reference equality, which is fine. It does fine. It will still work. Okay, so now the reason I did that is this. I am going to attempt to remove the delayed action that would start the heist. If I successfully remove it, that means it didn't get removed yet. So, since it didn't get removed... Hey! Welcome, JD Phoenix. Thank you for subscribing. I take it that means you're having fun. So, welcome. Thank you very much for subscribing to DevChatter. Okay, so the reason that I did this is that I wanted to make sure that we could actually remove it, because if we if we were adding someone to a role, and while we were adding them to the role, the game started and ran and everything, and we hadn't yet cleared out the roles list, I want to make sure that we can actually remove it. Although, let me take a look at the code before I decide whether or not that makes sense to do. Heist member is the first thing we do. And then we remove that, so we clear that out pretty quickly. That's like right at the beginning. I guess if I make this like step 1, then I won't really need to do that check. So I'm going to skip that, and we technically have a bug that I don't want to deal with fixing just yet. The bug, for anybody that doesn't realize it, is that there is a chance that you could start a game and have it start itself at the same time, and we could start the heist twice. Although it'd get really wonky if we did that. So hopefully we don't. And I actually just realized I didn't change that quite correctly. I still want to remove that. We want to do that. There we go. Okay, that's better. Okay, so now our heist should start when we get that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and stop the bot. We're going to exit out of this. And I'm going to go ahead and get it running again. Now, we should, once it gets in here, this should be the new bot running with our new heist code. So now, if we want to join the heist, I can join the heist as a hacker. And then that gets me in. So everybody go ahead and join the heist. Let's give this a try. We're going to fill it up, and then we're going to watch us all get caught by the police. So it'll be fun. Nothing quite like getting caught by the police, huh? Police and the snitch. Thank you, Jericho. We always need a snitch. The rat. Alright, so we got a tech. Fill in the last couple of roles, guys. If you don't specify your role, it'll give you a random one from the available ones, which is the best way to get one. Tank? No. Undercover cop? Yeah. Yeah, those aren't roles. We need a healer. Someone to play DPS. Ah, there we go. So MLG Popcorn's joined as the carrier, and then we all got arrested. Although we didn't wait 2 minutes, but, you know, close enough. Okay, so now we should be able to join again, right? Ah, see? And there we go. It restarts. So the game started, and we can rejoin. So looks like that works. Luckily, there's no penalty when we all get arrested this time, guys. So that's good. I like that. Let's go ahead and get this change committed. We're not done yet. So that is... so this first fix here, that is fixing the one-time callback actions. And then this is, we're triggering the game. Trigger heist start when full. Sorry. Okay. So that is pretty nice. So we can fill up the team. The next thing that I want to do is I want to prevent you from joining twice, because as far as I know, I can join as like every role if I want. Yeah, see, I'm the thief, the hitter, and the hacker somehow, or, you know. So there's the silliness, is you can join repeatedly. So I want to fix that. So let's go to our join code. So when we join, we want to say, if you're already in the heist, you're not allowed in. Heist members contains, what are we the key or the value? We're the value. Contains value chat user dot display name. Return false. Now here's the problem: is we need to start getting better messaging on this as well. So the game might have to respond back with what the message is. That's true, Jericho. We were originally going to have a mastermind, but we pulled that role out. Sorry, excuse me. Julian McFly, welcome. Thanks for following. Hopefully you're enjoying Dev Chatter, and I apologize about my cough. As I mentioned, I have a little bit of a cold. But yeah, we're going to mess with roles at some point. It's easy to add and remove roles. Okay. I think that ought to be enough just to block it. So I'm going to go ahead and restart the bot. So, yep, bot left the building. We're going to start it up again. We're going to take a look at this heist. See what we get. Yes, the project manager. Alright, so now bot is back in here. Let's go ahead and we're going to start up another heist. So I'm the hitter. And sorry, the heist is full. Yeah, see, that's the funny part. That's why I said, like, it's weird. We're not quite right on this. So what I'm going to do is I am going to make a join result. Now, the reason I'm making a join result is that sounds like joinable game piece that we're going to be able to reuse in our joinable game. So that's why I'm not just going to do a tuple here. Is because it really does feel like joinable game would have that kind of a helper class. So we're going to call this a join game result. And for this, we're going to have a boolean. Wow, boolean! Success bool! The more O's you use, the more efficient it is. That's how that works. Okay. Heist. App data context exposed. Very nice, One Reason to Live. Very nice. See? We have awesome people in here always trying to break everything. It's quite fun. Alright, so I'm going to move that into its own file. It's going to be inside the heist game for now, but I'm expecting that that's going to live with a joinable game concept once we pull that out. So here's what we're going to put on the heist game. I want to have a join game result is what these are actually going to return. Yeah, it's how you make the tri-bool. Exactly, JD Phoenix. The O's, so like if you wanted to make a quad bool, you'd have 4 O's. It's the number of O's. That's how you tell how many states it has. Okay, so attempt to join heist. So this is, we already have that role. So return back. Let's see. This is heist join results dot role taken. So I'm going to make a set of, we're going to call them like constants or something like that. So I'm just going to make a static class of these little responses that we're going to have, just because it'll be easy to do. So role taken, and then this is just going to be these will be the messages. Doesn't like that? What? What are you smoking? Oh, I didn't put in the names. Duh. message, success. Really, I should give this thing a constructor. What am I thinking? Because that'll be ugly otherwise. So... success and message. Okay. So now, down here, we are going to say false. Yep, no. We're going to nuke this. Thanks for helping me there, tools. So I'm going to take a look down at the heist command where these were. Sorry, so-and-so, we already have that role. Interesting. So I'm realizing something as I do this here, everyone. And that is I need some way to get this value in here. Diznubs, thanks for following. Did I miss anything in chat? Anything relevant? When I take a look here, guys, George Boole wouldn't agree with your logic. George Boole doesn't... Oh, yeah. Okay, nothing that I missed in chat. Okay, so here's the interesting thing. I want to be able to set these values. So this needs to be a display name and a role. Now, there's a couple of ways I can do this. I can either set this up as a format string, which I don't want to do, or I can set it up with that these are going to be values that are going to get set in here. So knowing that a heist join result is pretty much always going to take in these two values. So role taken. Alright, here's what we're going to do. We're going to make it a method. We're going to say public join game result role taken result, and it's going to take in a string display name and a heist role. It's going to return back a join game result, and that result is going to be false followed by this string. Actually, it's going to be this. Now, hopefully you all see basically what I'm doing here. Oh, it's got to be static too. So there's going to be a public static method that takes this in. It's going to return back a what the? Why is it giving me so much trouble with this? Oh, because of that. There's why. That space there. I don't know if you guys saw that space, but there was a space in my fat arrow, so it was really confused. Okay, so now that works, because now I can pass in the parameters I need for these, and I don't have to do anything weird with how the other result works. Why is your false on like 77 underlines with a squiggly? I see nothing wrong with it. 77. Oh, because I changed the type of the method it's in, Jericho. So its method now returns a join game result, and so false is not a join game result. So that's why it's complaining. Heist is full result. This heist is full. So this is heist full result. This one does not need to take in the role. We're not using it. What are the other results? I didn't understand your role. So we'll do that one next. Unknown role result. So this one is going to be and we're going to go ahead and put in their display name, because why not? So I don't know what role you want it to be, so try again. Yeah, doesn't that make sense, Jericho? Nothing crazy there. The language is not wrong. We're the ones that are wrong. And then we need to have a join the heist as this role. Join the heist as this role. So this is the success one. I'm going to put that one on top. So we're going to say join the heist as the blank, and then this one is the true one. Result with a T. Unknown, not an S. And then the last thing that we want to do is you're already in this heist. What are you doing, you idiot? So we're going to say an already in heist result. You're already in this heist, and you aren't a multitasker. Okay, so... Oh, yeah. I got that one. Thank you for the heads up. Yep. Appreciate it. It's always hard to spot typos and things like that. You aren't a multitasker. Which I guess I could write as multitasker. I don't know. Okay, so this one is the correct... This is the only true. So this is a heist... heist join results dot... successfully join the result, and this is going to be chat user dot display name. Which actually, do we use anything other than the display name? We don't. So I'm just going to take in the display name. So we're just going to say display name since we're not using anything more than that right now. That'll be our only value that we actually pull in. And Shift R, we are going to change this signature. We're going to remove that first one, and then we're going to switch them, so let's see if that works. There we go. Contains key role. Role taken result, display name, and role. There we go. And then this one, you're already in it, is going to be a... heist join result, and we're gonna say already in the heist display name. And actually I'm gonna curly braces this thing. With the return, I kind of feel like we should have it there. You sneaky roll, why are you trying to join this heist twice? I like that. That sounds fun. Return successfully. Why is this complaining? Oh, I didn't pass in the roll. Roll, display name, roll, display name. Choose random item. This meant it was full, right? I think this is. And chat user dot display name. This one also, we want to change this to be a display name. We're not actually using the chat user in here, which if we ever do, we can switch this back. But for now, I see no reason to keep this in here. So I'm gonna switch this signature as well. Alright, so JetBrains Rider. I actually do have it installed, IVK0, so I guess my opinion is that it is worth trying. I haven't messed with it enough. I hear good things, and I should use it more, but I haven't yet. You could say you're not a multitasker, you're only context switching. Oh, yeah. Okay, so this one. So we're doing this back here, so we're actually now going to extract that as a variable. So we're going to call this the join game result. Or maybe just the result for now. If result.success, actually, yeah, do we care whether or not result was successful? Crap, maybe we don't. Maybe we just want to spit out the message. Regardless. Well, that's an interesting one. Whoops. We might not be using those anymore. Which actually, I like that better. Spit out the result regardless. And then it's chat client dot send message result dot message. Weird. I think we might not even need it. I hadn't even thought about that. I guess I'll chop these for now, and we'll take a look and see whether or not we really needed them or not. We might not have. That'd be funny. Okay, let's take a look. I'm gonna go ahead and stop the bot, so glad that rock, paper, scissors game just ended, because I don't feel bad about it now. Alright, we're gonna go ahead and start this. Alright, bot should be running. Let's see, can we heist? I joined as a carrier. You're already in the heist. You can't, okay, so I got that. Someone try to choose a role that's already taken. Someone choose a role that's already taken. We want to make sure that it gives us the right message for all these things. Nice, perfect. Yeah, so Jericho, we hadn't realized at first that I wasn't even going to need the Boolean, so we could just return the message. I like it having that structure a little bit, but because there might be something we do based on that, but I'm not sure. We might not need it. We might just return a string now and just make that like a set of strings for those. Perfect. The unknown role worked. Everything's working here. All of those are working. That is fantastic, guys. I am a big fan of all that. And you're right, we no longer really need this result that we had here. Although, I think I want to keep it anyway, because there might be something else in other games that do this. So even though the Heist game didn't use the result, I think another one might, and if we do decide to get rid of it, it's so easy to replace with a string. So that'll be a simple one if we end up wanting to do that. And everyone got arrested. No. Async awake. It's saying that you're already in it. The result should have a default return string. If there's a message, it should return that. Oh, well, I mean, yeah, so... oh, you're saying that the result should be able to toString. Yeah, we could do that, actually. That is actually a very good point. It should have that. Return message. You are totally right. We should absolutely do that. So now, You're 100% correct. So now I think we can get away with this. No? No, doesn't quite like it. Won't. Well, everyone got arrested on that one, JD Phoenix. Yeah. No, it's not quite gonna work the way I thought it was going to. Because there's nothing implicitly trying to do that. So, alright. Well, either way, I'm going to leave it this way for now. We might fix it later. And I'm going to cut that for now. That didn't work as nicely as I thought. If you meant something else there, Jericho, we can take a look at it. Okay, so we have all those in there. I'm going to commit this change, actually, because I want to make sure that we get this saved. So we moved join game results. Results into own classes. So I like that. So now we need to actually... So, okay, so at this point, people can join. They can select roles. You can not select a role. Some nice to haves would be telling you which roles are available if you guess the wrong role, but I don't want to jump into that one just yet. But some other nice things that we would... There's some other nice things, but I think the main, like, join ability of it is in place. I think now we need to wire up actually running the heist. So... To make that happen, we actually want to deal with how the heist actually starts. So right now, all we do is just, you know, say the heist happened and we're done, right? That's silly. I'm gonna pull these into a method, and I'm actually gonna call this reset heist. And that happens at the end of starting the heist. Okay. So here's what we want to do. Select a heist. Heist for the team to go on. Have the team try to do it. Okay. We know we need a... I don't know, I'll call it a heist mission for now. I'm not sure what to call these. This is going to be a list of heist roles. We're going to say preferred roles, something like that. Escapade. Glad you're enjoying it, Zippos. I don't know if you have yet, but if you haven't, click the follow button, and you'll be alerted when we're next streaming, so you can make sure you don't miss one. Heist mission has a name, it has preferred roles. Int reward. So I'm thinking that's the amount of money that's going to get distributed. Something like that. Yeah, Jericho, there are all kinds of things that we could do. There are a lot of things like that. I mean, we could do ref parameters, we could do output parameters, we could do tuples. But trust me, a lot of developers will kill you if you're using those and you had no reason to within the C# community. Okay, so preferred roles. So you'll get bonuses if you bring preferred roles. Let's call this attempt heist. Of heist roles. And then lastly is the reward. Okay, so these two are easy. They set that. This one you can't actually do. You sort of can, but you'll notice it tried to line it up, but we still got a red squiggly. Because what we need to do is this. Okay. I don't know, make that a little bit better. Yeah, Jericho. That kind of stuff happens. Where do you find the Twitch API? So if you go to there's a couple of things there, like dev.twitch.tv. So if you go here, this is all the stuff about the Twitch API and working with it. So you can take a look at what it is here. In order to do the communication with this, rather than writing our own library, we are actually leveraging TwitchLib, which is an open source project that some other people maintain, and they're actually in here pretty frequently. At least a couple of the maintainers are. Specifically, we sometimes get Fossils in here, and Swifty Spiffy and Suzuna are both frequently in here. So, so we do get that. So TwitchLib makes it so that we don't have to write all the plumbing code for that. And we kind of keep it at arm's length, so we have wrappers around it so that our code isn't super dependent on TwitchLib. We could replace it at any point, but that's not really the reason. It's that we want to make sure that the way we interact with it isn't tied to TwitchLib, because we are planning on having other connections. So, for example, we're probably going to connect so that the bot could be used as a mixer bot, even though we don't use it as such here. But additionally, one of our guys, Arid, is working on the Discord connection to this. So because we have everything set up just as like, oh, there's chat services and follow services and other things like that, we could make it so the Discord chat, the bot could be in there as well. So we're likely going to do that. Jericho, if the requirements are for the result to be anything else other than the message, that would be the case, but if it's always string dot the message... Jericho, you're correct, at which point I could just switch it back to a string. So I could have gone from a boolean to a string, and that would have been fine. Oh, cool, Arid Tag. You're actively working on it. But the reason I'm leaving it that way, Jericho, is because we're expecting to have... we're building this as a joinable game, and while Heist doesn't do anything with it, I think another game might. And so I want to leave it in there because their commands might need to have the result value, and so I want to make sure that we're giving that back. So I'm giving consideration to the fact that this is going to be a reusable piece, and while sometimes the result value is ignored, it won't be in every case, is kind of my thinking. So what I'm going to say is... So we want to attempt the heist inside of our heist game. we want to pick a random heist. From the collection. This is going to be our failing heist roll. The hacker will be the only one that's any use at all. And the reward is going to be 0 because you're going to fail it every time anyway, so it doesn't matter. And then heist mission dot attempt heist. And send in the chat client and probably all the people that are on it, heist members. So we'll send in the chat client and all the members that are on it, and then it'll run on its own. It made an overload. I didn't want an overload, but that's fine. So now what I'm going to hide in there is this. But the nice part is we're now triggering this based on this value, so that's closer to where we want to be. Yeah, exactly. Otherwise, we would just switch to a string for the return value, and that's all we would do there, and that would work nicely. Okay, so I'm going to stop the bot and get it running again. And then we'll do this and just see what we get. So let's all join this heist once the bot reconnects here. We'll go ahead and just do it, let it do random rolls, so it'll assign us all rolls and then let us start the heist. So everybody go ahead and jump in. Let's all get a roll, and I just want to see what it does once we get in here and do this. So hopefully we get the same thing we used to, which is we get a message saying that we all got caught. Lemons galore, welcome. I think that's the first time I've seen you in here. Oh, there we go, and everyone got arrested. Perfect. Good job, team. We all got arrested as planned. Sorry, Reveille. Reveille? But we can start a new one, and you can hop in. So right now, the heist, no matter what is a loss, but that's fine. And we can start to figure out if we want to do that differently at some point, but that's how it works. But yeah, so the idea is now we need to set up the heist and actually make this heist work. So we're in a much better place, and I would say that's ready to start going. So set up the heist mission class. Hey, Reveille, thanks for following. That is a good thing. So if anybody in here is watching and you haven't clicked the follow button, you really should so you can catch our next stream. Yeah, no, Reveille, you can join, you just can't start a new heist. Everyone can join, but you can't start new ones. Does that make sense, Reveille? And the reason why we actually have that restriction in place is because our games don't currently have any time limit, so we didn't add a cooldown for it. So the heist could just be going non-stop, so by at least restricting it to subs, it's, you know, a random person can't just join the chat and decide that they want to always have a rock, paper, scissors game going, for example, because that could get annoying if someone starts spamming it a whole bunch. So we got an interesting question, although I'm not going to be able to respond to him by speaking, and I'll have to type it. I like having source control not be in my IDE. Just a preference. I also do a lot of command line git, but don't do that much on stream as it's less interesting for most people. Yeah, so most of the time, actually, when I'm doing work with Git, I do a lot of command line stuff. But for the stream, I do it inside a visual thing because it's a little bit better and it's much more approachable for most people. So I try to use GitHub Desktop for that reason. It's a very simple one. Yeah, Janiscu, I also run PowerShell. I use the git shell normally for GitHub, and I use git bash for Visual Studio repositories. It's easy to manage all your gits in one place. Yeah, it's project-based. So, yeah, what Sky Hoshi mentioned there, which I'm not going to reply with, the nice thing is, So I can see all the various projects that I've got that I pull from my dev chatter repository on GitHub. You'll notice I have forks of the TwitchLib stuff, but then I also have a few projects of our own that are in here. So makes it a little nicer. And I apologize about the cough, everybody. As I mentioned, I do have a bit of a cold, so hopefully it'll go away soon, and Monday's stream won't be much of a problem. So for anyone that wants to check it out, you can find our GitHub here, and if you want to keep talking to us, join our Discord. It's a nice spot, and you can follow DevChatter on Twitter to get announcements about when we go live and things like that. Yeah, so one reason to live, there's various reasons to commit different things. You'll notice that NRIG, thank you for following. Yeah, so I use user secrets in this project, so if you take a look at the appsettings.json file that I'm using here, you'll notice that it has nothing at all relevant in it, and this is actually going to restructure as soon as I merge in the changes from arid tag, which actually I might do before we wrap up here today. I can go approve those changes and bring them in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump over to this, and I like these changes. We reviewed these at the beginning, but arid tag did a very nice adjustment to our configuration and essentially set up a config that gives us a bit of structure in our project, and I think it's pretty nice. I might tweak based on what he did here, but I am going to approve this and merge it in, and that will go into master. IT Goran, thank you for following. Welcome to Dev Chatter. Hopefully everybody's having a great day. Let's see, Sky Hoshi, another thing, if you have interconnected projects, yeah, so especially if you're doing something like sub-repositories, something like that, it could get really messy without doing something like this. Yep, personal preference on pretty much everything. So I will try to mention to you guys anytime I'm doing something that's very much personal preference, because I've got a lot of them, things that I do that not everyone does. So now the reason I delayed to do this change is that now that I've brought in the change from arid tag, on the master branch I'm going to need to update my own system, because my user secrets file is going to have to change to that new structure. And I have, I'll show you guys for a second, I have this little no peeking screen that I can put up that I can use for whenever I want to do something that I'm going to have to mess with my strings that are, OAuth tokens and things like that. And so I bring up that screen, but I'd rather not if I don't have to. So, because I'd rather you guys at least have something interesting to look at, like source code. Because I know when I'm talking, you guys are often reading whatever source code is on the back of the screen, and I know that because you chime in about it all the time. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to make a class. So what would you call it? Available missions? So I'm going to make it a class right now instead of putting it in the database. We'll eventually put this in the database, but we're going to make available missions. And this is basically just going to be a set of all of those missions. This is just going to be a collection. Yeah, exactly. IT Garin. I have been telling other Twitch programming streamers forever to get one of those. That was like the first screen I set up. Is I'm like, you need like an intro screen when you're coming in. You need a screen where you're writing code. You need a no peeking screen so you can do that stuff. And then at the end, you need an outro screen. Yeah, exactly. So whenever I hear about a dev that's like, oh, I had to change this because I accidentally showed this on screen, it's like, you're like, I'm going to be messing with this kind of stuff. Let me put up the no peeking screen. I can still talk to you guys. Heck, I could even, put my face on the no peeking screen and it'd be fine. The goal is I just don't want to be showing you guys a screen share while I change codes. What the follower picture means. Kazru, so maybe. The interesting thing, now I don't know how much you guys pay attention. If someone's in here that hasn't clicked follow, so you're not yet following Dev Chatter, please click it because I want to make the alert show up there so everybody can see what it is. Actually, I could maybe just trigger it again, but if you click it, I mean, I'm not going to complain if you want to follow me because, why would I complain about that? Let me go ahead and take a look. Let's see if I can re-trigger a follow. Change the filters. We're going to show all the various things. So I'm going to rerun ITgrams. So take a look. So that is actually a group of us that are walking off the edge of a cliff. And the thing that you guys might not know about that is a real picture. We really are on that cliff. What is a lie there is the blue sky in the background, as you should actually see trees. But that is actually a very high up point inside of a national park. We are really on that cliff. And the part that's scary is we are much closer to that edge than it looks just because of the way that the cliff is set up. It actually juts out further in front of us. And the reason I keep saying we is because I am actually that guy leading you off the cliff. So that is my own little joke. So Popcorn, thank you for following. The joke here is that you're following me as I walk off a cliff. That's the joke. So that picture is actually from a calendar that I used to make. So if anyone's ever has anyone here ever purchased a software craftsmanship calendar? Please tell me we've got a customer in here somewhere. Yeah, you sink awake. We're all C-sharp lemmings. Does anyone in here actually have a software craftsmanship calendar? If you do, that would be very, very cool. Give me one sec, guys. So I'm going to show you guys something kind of neat. Yeah, exactly. I'm leading you all off a cliff. So these are like physical wall calendars we used to make at a company I used to work for. Various things like this. Where's a good one? This one's got some stuff in it. So the calendar is all about different software craftsmanship principles and things like that. So, for example, you might have like Golden Hammer. The Golden Hammer is a bad software practice. So the calendars are just all various things about that. And specifically, yeah, we had been selling them for years. We did not do one for 2018, which a lot of people contacted us and complained about, but those people don't realize how much work goes into these and how much money it actually costs to make a calendar, because our calendars are actually all custom made so these are all custom designed, InDesign and everything. So here it is. Here's Death March, everybody. So I mentioned to you, so that's us walking off this cliff, and it is for Death March. So that is what we're on, is a Death March. So, and yes, it is Mjolnir. That is the hammer the golden hammer that we used for that. So we thought it was a very cool one. But yeah, you started integrating KeyPass. Sky Hoshi, that is really neat. You leverage KeyPass for that, because that's actually one of the problems with user secrets inside of Visual Studio, is that it keeps those clear text actually still, and it would be very cool if you could leverage KeyPass and those secrets to somehow do that. Yeah, that would be a very cool solution. We did those. I think we did 6 calendars in total. So 6 different years we did those calendars. Shipped them all over the world to various developers. Yeah, so that is the fun thing. All right, so we are actually at our 2-hour mark, and I will tell you that I was not planning on going live today. As you can probably guess by the fact that I have a cold, I was not planning on going long today. On Friday, for example, I did a 5.5-hour stream. So if you didn't check that out, go check the videos section on Twitch. We did a 5.5-hour stream. It was really awesome. So that was Thursday, actually. And then on Tuesday, we also had a really long stream. It was like a 4-hour stream. On Tuesday and on Thursday, we had pair programmers with us. So I had Saduki, which if you don't know Saduki, she's really awesome. She was a guest on C# Fritz's stream one time. She's really cool. And if you see the thanks Saduki or thanks Sarah, whatever it is in his project, then that's who that is. She was with us on Tuesday. And then on Thursday, we had James Chambers, who's one of the ASP.NET monsters, and so he joined us on Thursday. We had some really fun times pair programming with both of them, but I want to go ahead and let you guys know that our next stream is going to be on Monday. We stream Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, so every week there's lots of C# and .NET Core goodness. So if you do want to make sure you get notified of when we go live next, make sure you click that follow button. If you want to contribute to the project or let us know about any issues or things like that, if you have any ideas for what you want us to work on, go check out our GitHub. On our GitHub, if you go to the DevChatter bot project, you can take a look at our issues and make any recommendations for stuff you want to do there. But in addition to that, you could go to our stream info section and you could put issues here if you want to request something that we do on stream. Restarted, thank you for following. So if you want to tell us, hey, I want you to do this, we just set up this stream info section just recently, so if you do want to say, hey, yeah, go ahead and make one of these, you can go here to let us know, and we will see how we can get that kind of a stream set up. We have some information about our schedule on here, and I need to change our planned streams, but our basic schedule is this, which you can also find on our Twitch page. So if you are on Twitch, and running the actual Twitch in the website, you'll be able to see on our page, and I'll toss it on here so you guys can see it. We'll get a little bit of inception here. But there's this Now Live section. It will show the schedule, and it should convert into your local time zone. So whatever time zone you're in, you should be able to get that. And we've got a bunch of other information and links down here as well. So go ahead and check that out. And if you want to keep talking to us after the stream is over, I highly recommend that you take a look at our Discord. So you can join our Discord and keep chatting with us. So I mentioned that AridTag had sent us some pull requests. He and I were chatting in Discord about the pull requests he was doing and the code he was writing while he was doing it. So, didn't have, even though the stream wasn't going, could still talk about the code he was doing for the project. And that's a nice, easy way for us to collaborate, whether you want to hop on in. Maybe it's your first time contributing to an open source project. We make sure that there are usually some easy issues that people can knock out. And if you don't see one you can handle, you could just contact us and say, hey, yeah, I want to contribute to the project. Is there something pretty easy I could do? And I will make an issue for you on GitHub and set one up so that you can knock that out, send us a pull request, and we'll make your first contribution an easy one. So I wanted to thank everybody that showed up today, everybody that talked in chat, tested out the bot, followed, subscribed. We had a lot of awesome people do all kinds of things today, so it was very cool. I know we got a couple of subscriptions and a cheer, so Wheelspin, thank you for the bits. Much appreciated. And One Reason to Live, thank you for subscribing. And right there, Oseki, thank you for following. And now you will be notified when we go live next. And JD Phoenix, thank you also for subscribing. And remember, if you do subscribe, you get access to the Devcha Hype emote. So you can spam that all over anywhere on Twitch now. And it's a really fun, exciting one. It's a little T-Rex. He's got little grabbers because his arms aren't long enough to hold the sign over his head. If we do ever get partner on Twitch, I do have plans for all the additional emotes that we're going to add. I have a lot of cool ideas that I think you guys are really going to enjoy. As always, I wanted to thank everybody for showing up and for helping out. It was really awesome. So, have a great day, everybody. I'm going to wrap here. I need to give my voice a rest and probably drink some tea. Ought to do it some good. And I am going to commit everything that we've got here that's still outstanding, and that'll be it. KLM3, thank you for following. I'm glad you enjoyed the stream, Async Awake. As I said, Monday, it'll start at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, which is 1 hour before now in whatever time zone you're in, but on Monday. And then it's the same time again on Tuesday. And then we're a few hours earlier than right now on Thursday, so our time shifts around a little bit so that if your schedule isn't, quite lined up with ours, at least you might be able to catch 1 or 2 streams a week. And you can always take a look on GitHub to see what changes. And thank you both for the well-wishing. I also hope that I feel better soon. So, it was really awesome having everybody here, and I hope you all have a great day. So write some good code, and yeah, that's a wrap.